This photo was taken 150 years ago on May 10th, 1869. The people here are celebrating the driving of a golden spike, a ceremony commemorating the completion of the first transcontinental railroad in the US. It happened in the middle of nowhere, just north of the Great Salt Lake at Promontory Summit. Utah considers itself the Crossroads of the West, and it's very proud of this moment. So proud, they put it on the back of a quarter when state-themed quarters were a thing. So why is Utah considered the Crossroads of the West? To answer that question, we have to consider why the railroad was made in the first place. In the mid-1860s, the nation was still reeling from the Civil War, and some people felt that a transcontinental railroad would unite the nation. The federal government had also just won a series of wars against the Native Americans, so it had a ton of land on its hands. The government decided to incentivize growth by giving away land, specifically 20 miles on each side of newly built rail lines. And just like that, the race to build the most amount of track was on. The Union Pacific started off in Omaha, Nebraska. Its workers were a mix of Irish, recently freed slaves, and former Confederate Army soldiers. And from the west, starting in Sacramento, mostly Chinese workers hand-picked tunnels through the Sierra Nevadas. The work was slow, but when the dust settled, the Central Pacific had laid around 700 miles of track, with the Union Pacific laying around 1,000 miles. The first transcontinental railroad was a big deal for the nation and Utah. And two pieces of tech sit at the center of this event. The first one is obvious, and that is trains. Before, if you wanted to move yourself or goods, you had to use animals like oxen, donkeys, or horses. Do you remember the video game Oregon Trail? It's just like that, except for this is in real life. Now that the train connected east to west, all those fun things like cholera, animals dying, and months of travel could be avoided. The second piece of tech that is often overlooked is the telegraph. 8 years earlier, in 1861, the first transcontinental telegraph line was completed in Salt Lake City, Utah. Telegraph lines ran right next to the railroad tracks, and with every new railroad completion, more and more information could be passed through those lines. Those same telegraph lines would later be replaced with phone lines and now internet lines. Utah has continued to be the crossroads of the West. It has become part of its identity. Definitive moments, like the one captured in these photos, do not happen often. It is rare that we can point to a specific moment in time when everything changed. I want to thank you for watching this video, and I really want to know, how do you feel like the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad affects you today? Go ahead and leave a comment below. And as always, if you like this video, go ahead and hit like. If you want to subscribe and see more videos like this, hit subscribe.